All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach Kodash, that honors the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the sincere Akim and Aqua to listen. May the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Akwai. I'm back in here with another quick lesson. And for today's lesson, I just want to talk about pious living. And really and truly what inspired this lesson, I was just meditating on a couple things and just understanding and thinking about how a lot of our people actually live their lives in this world under Babylon the Great's vibration, and and it's a lifestyle. It's a that is not essentially pleasing to the Lord, right? That's why 2/3 of our people are going to be destroyed. But I was just meditating on a couple things, and just meditating on the difference between, even myself, of how we used to live when we were in the world versus now, right? And a lot of the things and the character traits and that, and the virtues that gets added onto us, right? So let me start with the definition. What is pious? Like, what does that mean? So let's get the word in the etymology. Okay, so this is pious in the etymology. It says having or intended to show faith in reverence, for a supreme being. It says from the Latin pious, meaning dutiful, devout, conscientious, religious. Says faithful or to kindred, inspired by friendship, prompted by natural affections, purifying, pure, clean. And one of the things that it makes me think about is reverence for a supreme being, because even when you read Ecclesiastes chapter 12, Solomon says the whole duty of man is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, right? That is the whole duty of an Israelite man, right? And this is why so much of our people, when you think about our people, today, in the world and the way that they live, they don't live a life that is pleasing unto the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? As a matter of fact, this precept is just coming to mind right now, so I just want to get this. Just bear with me. Because a lot of our people, for example, they have a very wealthy lifestyle, they have a very luxurious lifestyle, but they have a very what's the opposite of sound? Like, there's no soundness in their lifestyle. There's very little substance. Essentially they're missing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? The precept. Oh, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, this is, I believe it's Sirach 25. Is it 26 and 4? Okay, 26 and 4. Okay, so around 26 and 4, it says, whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance, right? And that's true. It's so important because we keep the Lord in the forefront, of our minds. I think it's King David that said, meditate on thy precepts. Through thy precepts I get understanding. When you think about these things, you think about, oh goodness, you constantly like going through that wave of like constantly examining yourself, right? And looking to be, a more pleasing individual in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Because that relationship is so important, and having these precepts and having these treasures helps us to navigate when we go through a lowest state, when we go through affliction, and even when we go through some particular things that are fairly good, right? And that's really the point of this lesson, because there's a shift in the way that we used to live versus the way that we live now. It's very it's in reference to our higher power. It's putting us essentially back in our order, right? We're serving the Lord. The Israelite man serves the Lord. If you're an Israelite woman, you serve your husband, right? That's the order of things, right? So in regards to the point that I made about suffering, just bear with me on this. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's 4. Okay, this is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 15. It says, "But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters," right? And that's true, right? Because a lot of our people, this is the way that they suffer. And another thing too is, like the precept I just read before, they don't have an understanding of when they're suffering, especially if they're suffering in a righteous sense. And our people don't understand that there's a right way as well as a wrong way to suffer. We don't suffer as, like we're outlining, it says here, as a murderer, as a thief, as an evildoer. We're not going into people's, for example, houses and stealing their shoes, or stealing their goods, or whatever it is that they have. We live, we abide by the what's it called, the laws of the land. Essentially, we abide by these particular things, right? We render unto things that are Caesar's, and the things that are the Most High's, we comply with those things, right? Like it says in Matthew, I believe, right? So verse 16, it says, "Yet if any man suffer as a Christian," so it's essentially a follower of Yahushua HaMashiach, "let him not be ashamed, but let him glory the Most High Yahweh on his behalf," right? And that's true, because many of our forefathers have suffered, in a righteous sense, right? And that's something that our people don't actually have an understanding of, because our people think that, it's all love, God is all love, he's good all the time, and that's a false balance, right? According to the scriptures, a false balance is an abomination unto the Lord, right? The Lord controls both sides. And that's the point that I really wanted to make as well. But they don't have any understanding into these particular things. So when they go through tribulation, they're kind of scratching their head, wondering, what do I do? Right? And instead of actually trying to, look at themselves and think, oh my goodness, I have to examine the things in the way that I live. And because a lot of our people don't live in a particular way that is essentially pleasing unto the Lord. This is why the Lord gave us a bill of divorce as a nation. As a matter of fact, let me get that. What is that? Jeremiah. Okay, Jeremiah 3 verse 8, and it says, "And I saw, for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel have committed adultery, I had put her away, and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah," so a northern and southern kingdom, "feared not, but went and played the harlot also." So we went in a way. As a matter of fact, let me read verse 9, and it says, "And it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom, she has defiled the land, and committed adultery with stones and with stocks." So, as a nation, because Israel is likened unto a beautiful and comely woman, we've played the harlots by fornicating essentially with, other religions, other gods, paying homage to those other gods, reverencing those other gods rather than reverencing the Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because one of the commandments says that because the Lord is a jealous power, right? And our people don't understand that. So what do? What they do, they become a lot more pleasing to those particular gods, which is in contrast to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It's not in alignment with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, his laws, his statutes, and commandments, these precepts. Through these precepts we get understanding, but our people don't do that, because they're stuck on stupid, right? They're in a wilderness, right? Spiritually, right? So that's really the point, right? They don't have that, they're not back in order, because when the man is out of order, the man is doing all particular things, and he instructs his woman, and the woman instructs their children in complete disorder, right? So, like, for example, I'll just use Will Smith as an example. Now, Will Smith is the type of character, he gets into these particular sodomitish behaviors, right? And his woman is running around committing adultery, and look at the state of his children, right? That's a broken home, that's a broken family, right? And these people are Israelites. Like, the purpose of an Israelite man like him is to serve Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, but our people are not doing that. They don't live that pious lifestyle in reverence to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. They live it in reverence to Satan, essentially. Right? So that's really the point to bring out here. But let me get Romans. Right. This is Romans 5, verse 1, and it says, "Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with Yahweh through our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the glory of the Most High Yahweh." Right. So that peace, so just in the precept I read earlier in regards to that bill of divorce, there was enmity between essentially us as a nation and the Most High Yahweh. So through that, through the sacrifice that the Yahweh Shai Mashiach has made, we're able to essentially there's peace being reestablished now. There is we're more on friendlier terms, essentially. Right? And that's really the point. And then what comes with that being at peace, what comes with that Yahweh Shai sacrifice, is that we live that particular lifestyle that's in reverence, not in contrast, in reverence to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? It's not a lifestyle that's displeasing. Yes, we do suffer, of course. I'm not saying that we do suffer, right? Because there are moments that we do suffer, but but going back to my earlier point, there's a right way as well as a wrong way to suffer, right? And people don't understand that. But the point really is that through Yahweh Shai's sacrifice, we live a life that is a lot more pleasing and to our power, right? Because in these particular moments, and this particular moment known as grace, we have this opportunity to be essentially to clean ourselves up, so the Lord will remember us, especially in times of trouble, right? We're not just some random niggas who are just essentially going to people's houses and breaking and stealing and doing all kinds of matters of wickedness, because our people are very, very, they very, very, when it comes to doing the wrong, like the scripture says that how does it go? For to do, essentially to do the right thing, they have no knowledge, right? To roughly paraphrase. Now let me get Philippians. As a matter of fact, I'll get in the NLT. Okay, I'll start at verse 3. It says, Philippians 2 verse 3, it says, "Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourselves." And oh goodness, man, that's like, for me, as an example, that is something that I personally had to work on. Because this is, if there's anything that this truth has taught me, it's taught me to always consider always considering others, right, rather than always stuck on considering ourselves, right? Because in from something that I've noticed living in Babylon for so long, living in this kingdom for so long, is this that it perpetuates a culture where you're kind of just like, it's just about you. It's never about those who are sincerely around you and care about essentially care about you as a whole. It's just about you. It's a me narcissistic type of culture, right? It's vain. Now, and this is the contrast, and that's part of essentially for me to put off that old man, is to always consider, like, you consider our ways, we consider Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and then for me, like, for example, is considering your brethren. Like, sometimes your brethren might need help in particular ways, in particular living. They might be in a particular situation. They might need a what's it called? They might need a phone call. They might need to, you might need to lend them your ears for something. They might be going through particular things, and they might reach out and be like, hey, can you help me? Can you counsel with me in this particular thing? Right? This is all going to characteristics and traits and attitudes of a pious lifestyle, right? That's pleasing unto the Heavenly Father through His Son, right? So, we're considering ourselves, right? We I think it says in Galatians that we bear each other's burdens. That's another thing too, right? We all have our own cross, yes, but that is the importance and the wonderful thing about having, brethren that you share the same like mind with, right? So hopefully this is all adding up and piecing together and making sense, right? Verse 4, it says, "Don't look out only for your own interests," or as I was saying before, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Yahushua HaMashiach had, though he was like, I'll read in KJV. It says, "Whom being form of the Most High thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High." Verse 7, "Instead, he gave up his divine privileges and took the humble position of a slave, and was born as a human being. When he appeared in human form," right? Verse 8, "He humbled himself in obedience to the Most High Yahweh, and died a criminal's death on a cross," right? So the point, he took on the position of a servant, right? So this is going back to that pious lifestyle, because especially in this kingdom, it constantly perpetuates always focusing on you. So and then coming into the truth it's a switch. So you learn how to focus and consider those around you. You consider the Lord, because like I think there's like many examples of David, for example. He always inquired of the Lord of, okay, what should I do in these particular situations, right? We consider our brethren, your brothers and few sisters who might listen. We consider whether you have your parents, we consider, we think about these people, right, that are in their essentially in their right minds. Right? So it's to sum everything I've just said all up, we learn to consider those around us, right, and those who are very, very nigh unto us, right? So that's really the point I just really wanted to make. Let me just get this last one. This is Titus chapter 3, verse 1, and it says, "Remind the believers to submit to the government and its officers. They should be obedient, always ready to do what is good. They must not slander anyone or must avoid quarreling." they should be gentle and show humility to everyone, right? And Jake sometimes, like sometimes I see like clips, for example, like Jake might, they might run up in a liquor store and they might, just steal. This is why a lot of these nations don't have respect for us, because of those particular things. This is what I'm really trying to extrapolate from this particular precept, right? That godly lifestyle, that pious living. We don't, we're not causing a ruckus, going into stores and sagging our pants and behaving like niggas, right? And that's really the point that I'm truly trying to make, But anyways, I think I've rambled on a little bit, enough. But I pray and sincerely hope that this lesson was edifying. Hopefully, I really truly hope that you few brothers and few sisters got something out of this. And I'd just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahamushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.